welcome to this webinar, first in a series of webinars that we're going to have to help you understand a bit better on investing in special economic zones in Kenya, and specifically to help you understand a bit better the special economic zone that is TRIFIC. We have two able guests here today who are going to help me unpack TRIFIC a bit better. We have Brenda and we have Brian. Both start with a B. That's an interesting thing to at least start with. So Brenda and Brian, since we're going to be the three of us who are going to guide through this conversation, so I would want to maybe give you a chance to introduce yourselves. I'll start with Brenda and then Brian after that. So tell us a bit about yourself, Brenda.
Thank you, Eric, and good morning, everyone. My name is Brenda Mbathi. I am the first CEO for TRIFIC SEZ. TRIFIC stands for Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center. So a very long mouthful of a word. Previously to being here at TRIFIC, I was with GE for nearly a decade, and prior to that at East African Breweries. I'm also currently the Vice Chairman for Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA. So I've had a very diverse background, mainly in FMCG, in large-scale industrial manufacturing and infrastructure projects. But very core to many of the things that I've done is related to working with government, related to stakeholder engagement, and making various projects work. And I think that in this role at TRIFIC, I'm well poised to do that and to deliver on the dream. One of the key things that we do here at TRIFIC is also to attract foreign direct investment. And prior to being here, I was also the president for AmCham Kenya. So I also sat on President Biden's advisory board for doing business in Africa. So I think that that gives you a bit of my background and showcases perhaps why I'm in the role that I'm in today. Thank you, Eric.
I should say, looking through your CV, it's very rich and very informative, like the many roles and responsibilities that you've held throughout your lifetime. So I think very well suited for this task. Brian, over to you now. Maybe you can introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you very much, Eric. So my name is Brian Mwau. I'm the Business Development Coordinator at the Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center. Prior to that, I was still an employee of Centum in a different subsidiary, heading the cybersecurity division, also leading a platform called Agiri that is more relatable to the youth because it connects young people to employment opportunities. However, for the last 1 year, I've been serving under the leadership of Brenda Mbathi as the head of business development at TRIFIC. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Brian. So this is how we're going to run the session. We're going to start with a small presentation by Brenda. That's going to take a few minutes. And then after that, if you have any questions, we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. Feel free to send us your questions in the Q&A section of your chat there. So feel free to add any questions that you have during the presentation, and we're going to come to them and handle them after the presentation. So my name, I should have started by introducing myself. My name is Eric Mokaya. I work with Mwango Capital. I'm the founder, and we love having very informative discussions on topical issues in markets. And today, I think we really want to understand what a special economic zone is. And perhaps at the end, Brenda would have convinced us to set up shop also there very nicely. I'm based in Sweden, but I'm more often in Kenya. So I think I also have the experience to join TRIFIC at some point also. I'm trying to pitch myself to Brenda so that she can give me a
You're doing a good job.
Thank you. So what you're going to do, we're going to start with your presentation, Brenda. So we're going to cue it in. I'll be monitoring the chats. If you have any questions, do please let us know. Invite your friends also to join us. If you're on Twitter, do follow Mwango Capital and also follow TRIFIC so that we can be able to share the same with various audiences out there. So over to you, Brenda, to get us started, and then we'll be right back to do a Q&A at the end.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eric. And you know, they say you learn something new every day. So I think you probably are eligible, but you'll know why when we go through this presentation. So let me introduce you to TRIFIC. TRIFIC is a special economic zone based in Kenya. We are privately owned, and we are tailored and bespoke only to business services, which makes us slightly unique to other SEZs because we only deal with business services. We are not multi-purpose use in terms of we do not do manufacturing, we don't do warehousing, we don't do logistics, purposely for business services. When you're in a special economic zone, you get access to a lot of competitive SEZ incentives, and I'll talk about those a little later. And truly, Kenya, in doing this, and us being in Kenya doing this, is setting us up to be the gateway of Africa to the world. And I think we need to see that and to see that ambition. We got our license last year in June, so we're fully gazetted, and we also have all our customs codes. What does it mean to be in a special economic zone? As I said before, a special economic zone is a zone that is designated by the government to be set up and to offer special economic zone incentives. It's meant to provide great infrastructure, which we have. It's also meant to provide business-friendly regulations, which the government gives, and incentives. In the case of TRIFIC, Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center, the way that we're set up, and we're within the Two Rivers ecosystem, for those of you who know where Two Rivers are, we have the developer who developed the zone, and that is Two Rivers Land Company, SEZ. And they've developed it, they've placed all the infrastructure, which I'll also talk about. They then have given the management and operation of the zone to ourselves as TRIFIC, SEZ. Note the word SEZ at the end of all the players involved. And then for those of you that would wish to come and be domiciled in our SEZ, if you're eligible, you would be getting an enterprise license. And so you'd be the name of your company with that name, SEZ, at the end. These are incentives that were put in place since 2015 when the Special Economic Zone Authority was enacted. And none of these incentives have changed for the last 9 years, and we can only hope that they're going to be better. So they're very predictable within the Special Economic Zone. And what do you get? You get strategic incentives. Strategic incentives which give you a lot of cost advantages. I'm going to talk to them a little later. You also get support from us as TRIFIC, and we give you what we call one-stop shop regulatory support to help you to be set up in our zone and truly just come and do your business. And we're there to make this a hassle-free experience. Within our zone, within the Two Rivers complex, you'll have world-class infrastructure with uninterrupted operations. So we have our own power plant, and indeed we have the largest solar plant installation in Nairobi County. We have our own water plant, and we recycle all our grey water. And we also have top-grade security, not only because we're in the UN diplomatic blue zone, but because we also have a sister company called Tribus that supplies all the security within the zone. Tribus also does the anti-terrorism and various different security operations for the UN and diplomatic missions in Kenya. We have a smart city environment. We have a small in-house data center, which offers all the technology that you may need. We have 9 ISPs that feed into our zone, and we also offer you 24-hour support in terms of IT. We also are very fortunate to be within the Two Rivers ecosystem, and that means we have all the business and lifestyle amenities you may need. That includes access to the Two Rivers Mall, which has all the amenities you need in terms of retail shopping, restaurants, etc., a hospital, clinic. There's lots of amenities within the Two Rivers Mall. We also have 1,000 residential units that have been constructed by our sister company, Centrum Real Estate, and they come in various offerings, from the loft residences to the riverbank residences to Cascadia residences to the affordable housing project Mizizi as well. I've also talked to you about the amenities in terms of power and water, but indeed we have things that are fun to do. We have cycle tracks, we have pickleball, we have the only Ferris wheel in the country, and we have a water park. So lots of things for lifestyle as well. We're very committed to our sustainability and ESG focus. As I said, we do recycle all our water and do use the grey water back into our system. We're committed to keeping 30% of our space green. Our buildings are IFC EDGE certified. So therein lies that we are very green in terms of what you may be able to see and be offered in our ecosystem. We're part of the Centum Group. The Centum Group has been listed on the Nairobi and Uganda Securities since 1967, for more than 50 years. We have 35,000 shareholders and an equity value of 36.8 billion, although I am informed that that has risen to 41 billion as of last month. When you look at why Kenya, so for those of you who aren't in the country, why Kenya? Kenya is a liberalized and a strong economy in Africa. We're also very strategically located and a preferred entry point into sub-Saharan Africa. We're dubbed to be African Silicon Savannah because we are one of the top 10 fastest growing digital economies globally. Indeed, Kenya generates 90% of its energy from renewable sources, so you are part of a green economy. We have a population of approximately 56 million. And indeed, in terms of English proficiency, which is very key to some of the businesses that we target to come and operate in our zone, we're number 2 in Africa and number 20 in the world. And we surpass those that are also very committed to SEZs globally, but perhaps don't have the same English proficiency, which is important for global companies looking to do business services. And I'll talk about business services. Business services is one of Kenya's competitive advantages, and the FDI in this sector rose by 22% over the last 5 years. And it's something that's a key low-hanging fruit that we need to look at and we need to continue to grow. And hence we believe being domiciled in an SEZ with its incentives can help different companies to grow in this sector. And another thing, why Kenya? Well, we're deemed by Expat Essentials as being the place to live in Africa, number 1 in Africa to live, so a number 9 globally. So if you're outside of the country, there's lots to offer within our country. Some of the target markets that we look at, or the target industries that we look at that we believe can expand, can optimize, can grow and indeed diversify if they come into our zone, include global business service outsourcing, and hence the reason I talked about English proficiency, because it's very key for this sector, technology and innovation, financial services and investment management, corporate HQ shared services and centers of excellence, and indeed professional advisory services. This is not an exhaustive list, but you could find that your business is part of one of the categories. Now, this is the key slide. This is where I talk about the strategic SEZ incentives. Let me go into them in detail. The competitive incentives include corporate tax, where you pay 10% for the first 10 years and 15% for the next 10 years, vis-a-vis 30% if you're not in an SEZ. There's no capital gains tax and there's no VAT in an SEZ. So in terms of your repatriation tax, you don't pay any tax on your dividends. You don't pay any tax on your interest fees, your management fees, and your royalty fees for the first 10 years. Indeed, if you're based in an SEZ, you're allowed to have 20% of your workforce to have work permits with really no questions asked. Those are allowed to allow for your business operations. And there are further exemptions. You get exempted from import duties, stamp duties, advertising fees, business service permit fees, excise duties, and IDF, which is import declaration fees. So you have all those strategic incentives available to you when you're in an SEZ. And then we as TRIFIC give you the value-added services. We give you the regulatory support. We help you to get registered, licensed. We help you with your work permits and any regulatory support services that you may need to be established in our zone. We then also offer you tax consultation services in case you need to see how best you can be structured to be set up in our zone, to allow you to have effortless onboarding and setup. And we help you to do your SEZ licensing application. And once that application goes to the authority, to the SEZ authority, if you're eligible, and we make sure that before we submit an application, we have gone through all the eligibility sets, issues to make sure that if you are going to the authority, you are eligible, then you should get that license within 30 days. We have plug and play office solutions. So we offer you different office solutions. You can get what we call a grey box, which is fully available but not fitted out. You can also get a fully furnished and serviced office space. And you can get one where you just come into a shared office space solution, which is one desk, one desk office, or a shared desk office in a structured workplace that is established within our building. We also strongly advocate for you to look to the Nairobi Center for International Arbitration, which is our partner, for any of your dispute resolution mechanisms. So all of this are part of the value-added services that we give. And we have a lot of development capacity in case you're looking for a lot of space. Our zone is 64 acres out of 128 acres within the Two Rivers ecosystem. And we have approval to develop 1 million square meters. So we can do a lot of buildings and different spaces within the SEZ. This is just a traffic light system, and we can obviously share this if you reach out to us to showcase the fiscal advantages, which I've just shared in terms of strategic incentives of what you get if you're established within an SEZ and what you get if you're established outside of an SEZ. So again, it just highlights the areas of competitiveness in terms of repatriation of capital and in terms of your inputs, very much linked to tax incentives. So this is very key for you to understand. I have discussed the Two Rivers ecosystem. So once again, just to highlight, we have the Two Rivers Mall. We are currently established in the North Tower. That's our first SEZ tower. We also have a hotel right next door, the Holiday Inn, with 178 rooms, which is a 4-star hotel. We have another office block that we're bringing into the SEZ ecosystem called the Victoria Tower. And as I mentioned earlier, different residential offerings. What do you need to be eligible to set up within an SEZ? Number one, for our SEZ, which is a business services SEZ, you must have a services-orientated business scope. Again, I said we don't do manufacturing, we don't do transport, we don't do logistics, we do business services. You also need to showcase some movement of capital across international markets. And then you lease space within TRIFIC SEZ, so you just need to rent space, you don't need to buy land, you don't need to construct an office, you just need to lease space in the buildings that we have to offer, or you can ask us to build you a bespoke building, and then you're able to set up your operations. And then we walk the journey with you to get you licensed as an SEZ enterprise by the SEZ authority. These are the steps that we tend to follow. We first do step number one, introduction and expression of interest. So today, what I'm taking you through this presentation tends to be what we do at the introductory stage. We introduce ourselves to you and showcase what can happen within the SEZ. If you're interested, you let us know. And we have a one-pager that you fill in and just get your details that states, I'm interested in being established in your SEZ. Thereafter, we will invite you, if you wish, for a discovery session. And at that discovery session, we try to understand your business and we just take you through the motions to see whether you're structured correctly, whether you're eligible, and then we truly do what we call a value proposition for you. We have a financial benefits calculator. We walk it through, we look at the figures to show you the quantum benefits that you're going to get as a business. So if we take Eric as an example, so Eric says he's established in Sweden. He would come, we have an introductory session. He would then respond to me and say, Brenda, I'm interested. expression of interest. Then comes back and I say, Eric, let's get on either a virtual or an in-person meeting. And we go through, what is your business? And we discuss, are you eligible? We go through the criteria, showcase of movement of capital, etc., etc. He says, am I well structured to take advantage of all the benefits that are within the SEZ incentives? We can have a discussion on that. He then might ask me, well, how do I really understand whether I'm getting a benefit? We can then crunch some numbers, which he can do on his own, or he can do with our tax team to truly understand, does he get a benefit by being in an SEZ? When he then comes to me and says, aha, I do get benefits, I need to be structured and set up in your zone, he comes and says, this is the sort of space I require, space number 3, step number 3. He says, I need an office of this size. I will be having so many people in my establishment. It could be Eric on his own, it could be Eric with colleagues. And we establish, this is the space you need. We then calculate the rental that he would need to pay. He gives us a deposit, and we then apply for his license. We hold his hand, we help him to do the application, and then we go to the SEZ authority on his behalf with his application. Pretty much if we go to the authority, because we know you're eligible, etc., they will then turn around and give what's known as an approval in principle letter. And they will say, Eric is approved. Let him go and register his name, Eric SEZ. Sorry for using your name, Eric, but I hope you understand. So Eric SEZ, we help him to go back to business registration services to get Eric SEZ registered. That usually takes a week at most. Once he's got Eric SEZ registered, remember he's already got his approval in principle letter, which is pretty much like a license, not yet there. Then we just show that Eric SEZ has been established, the SEZ authority grants him his license, and then I say, welcome to TRIFIC, Eric. Here's your office, you've got your license, let's start operating. And so those are the steps. It usually takes, if all the things are in order, approximately 30 days to do this migration. What are the things you need to have to get in order? It's pretty much like setting up a bank account for a business. Make sure you have your director's IDs and PINs. Make sure you probably have a bank letter that states that they know who you are if you've got a business account, and just have your CR12 in order. So just things like that, which we just encourage, and we'll take you through them. It's not an onerous process, and we are here to help you get through that. So I want to thank you because I've now gone through the process with you. I want to let you know that we have a team of experts, and Brian is on the call with me today, and we have other colleagues. We await to assist you to see if you qualify to set up in an SEZ, and indeed in our SEZ. As I said, we just need to understand your specific requirements and needs. We're within the UN Diplomatic Blue Zone, very easy access. You're so welcome to come and visit us anytime. You just also want to know whether the impact of the incentives to your business, whether they're worth your while. So we help you look at that because we have our bespoke TRIFIC benefit calculator, which we can share and showcase with you. And then we also provide a tailored benefits proposition. And in the same way as I'm talking to you today, I'm willing to come and talk to your teams, willing to talk to your board, willing to talk to any decision maker who may need to understand what we are offering here at TRIFIC SEZ. And then we just align on what you need to set up within our zone. And I hope that this has been clear and helps you to understand, to demystify what it means to be established within an SEZ, but also for you to understand that these great strategic incentives are available here in Kenya. And I'd like to encourage as many people as possible to take advantage and to join us on the journey. Thank you so much. Back to you, Eric.
Thank you, Brenda. Very, very incisive presentation. Seems like I should set up Eric SEZ at this rate. You've given me the name and all the...
I've given you the name.
All the steps I need to get there.
You need to be careful, Eric. I might come looking for you.
Please do. Please do. I mean, the process seems very clear. Just talk to the board and talk to the people and get yourself started. I think the 30 days should be a record in setting up businesses in Kenya mostly, given the challenges a lot of businesses go through. And also, I think one of the key things you've highlighted is the issue of taxes. Kenyans today are in the streets mostly because of taxes. So very important that you're trying to handle that for businesses. So I want to rope in Brian to maybe talk a bit about the dimension of startups and the implications for setting up at TRIFIC. So perhaps, Brian, you can tell us a bit about startups and how they can set up at TRIFIC themselves.
Thank you very much, Eric, and also Brenda as well for the comprehensive, presentation. Yes, so for startups and scale-ups, TRIFIC definitely has an offering for them where number one, we're looking forward to lower the cost of, initial setup. And that is with as low as only $1,000, 500, you can be able to get an office and be able to start, your scale up, or rather your startup within the zone. Then besides also that, it's important also to mention that we have a co-working space where you can be able even to get, a minimum, like an office that can only have one seat. And that also takes the cost also lower, maybe even to less than $1,000. Also, we have been able to bring on board, an accelerator program, which is, mandated, or rather has taken charge and to ensure that they can be able to enable the startups and scale-ups be able to source for funding, and also give, sort of initial support towards establishing these scale-ups, especially for the startups that are looking to tap or rather export services outside Kenya. Even the accelerator program is geared towards establishing who are sort of the partners who these startups can be able to partner with in different countries, so as to just make sure that their growth is, remarkable or rather organic. And also besides that, we also have a quick way to enable a quick registration process, and this enables, whether you're thinking to have an innovative idea, and we can even be able to help you outsource even for partners or people who can be able even to sit within your board, and even help you in the tax structuring process, where we have a tax team that can help you, even be able to structure to just make sure that your startup, profitably or rather fits to work in special economic zone environment.
Yes, sorry. Yes, so I think another question that has come through is mostly what's the, so that's a value proposition for startups. So do you also have like a value proposition then for those that are more established and want to perhaps move to the special economic zone? And then one question, which is I think very specific, more for Brenda, would be, if you already have a company set up within the country, do you need to physically rent space within TRIFIC SEZ to qualify for most of the benefits that you highlighted? We can start with Brenda on the second question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you do. To be able to secure and take advantage of the benefits, that is the key. You do need to be domiciled in a special economic zone. You need to be set up in our special economic zone, because that is the way then that government is able to monitor, all of those who are operating in special economic zones. So yes, you do need to be domiciled. But again, I did mention we have different types of offerings in terms of how you can be set up, from one desk to a full office to a full floor. So different people look at it in different ways. And that's why I really encourage people to come and talk to us, so we can find the solution that works best for you. Because you could still have some sort of be domicile here in some aspect, if you still need some of your local operations to be outside of the SEZ. So it's great to come and talk to us, so we can go through exactly what you need. And that's what I talked about, the free support in terms of how best do you structure it, how best do we do this? And we can walk the journey with you. The thing I try and encourage people to understand is we're here to support. So it really is a conversation. And there's no harm in reaching out to have the conversation, to say, and ask the questions, because we won't get tired of answering them, and we won't get tired of trying to support you to go on this journey. Yeah. So whoever's asked that question, I encourage you to reach out to us. But yes, you do need to be domiciled in some way or form within our SEZ. Yeah.
All
but
right,
we
Brian,
have easy access, UN diplomatic zone, and Two Rivers. It's not difficult to be domiciled within Two Rivers. Yeah.
All right. Brian, what's a value prop for this established entities? Do they also need to have a startup wing to be able to set up within the SEZ?
Not really, but yes, we've also factored in, already established firms to be able to, have a seamless integration into the ECZ. And the process is very clear. Number one, we just need to analyze what their needs are. Whether it's space, whether it's, a convenience or other access to amenities, access to, let's say, technological infrastructure like connectivity and all that, just to make sure that we meet all their needs. And even in terms of numbers and space, we have TRIFIC sits on 64 acres of land with the possibility to even scale to up to 1.2 million square foot of space. That means we have more than enough space for even the well-established firms. Then also something else, a value proposition that we offer to them is, taking away the cost of, having to incur a consultant, or rather to onboard a consultant to help them with the structuring process. So that is one of the key, support that we provide, just to make sure that we've given them a proper tax structuring report where they can be able now to know what to do. And even if they need to, for example, present to their board a presentation or a value proposition that they need to either present to their shareholders or board members, we can be able even to help them put that together, just to make sure that even before they move into TRIFIC SEZ, they already see the value in terms of what will be their cost saving, what will be their the incentives that they will benefit from, so that they're making a decision from a point of information. And of course, we bring together also a community of international business caliber businesses together. So even networking events, being able to even do business development becomes easy, because these are people who are in the same sector, that is business services. Hence, they might be able to find that one service that is provided by, let's say, one firm is beneficial to the other.
Yes, thank you for that, Brad. This is more for Brenda. There's a specific question I think here that is more, they're asking, do your customers, and I think it speaks to the orientation of the business, which is also a question I had before. So do you need to be export oriented, or can you be focused on Kenya alone? If you're focused on the local market, can you still be set up at TRIFIC? So I think from the type of businesses, and also I think the next question would be, which type of businesses have you dealt with in the recent past which have an interest in setting up at TRIFIC?
Thank you. So indeed, for a Kenyan company that's only serving the domestic market, accessing SEZ incentives can be more challenging, because SEZ's framework typically aims to encourage international trade and investment. So, the SEZ zones are designed to attract foreign direct investment, to promote exports and foreign exchange earnings. So we're really a dollar economy. Even the rental charge will be in dollars, we're dollar denominated. And it's also to enhance economic growth and job creation through international trade and investment. Hence, you hear me saying the movement of capital, which could be from a shareholder from externally bringing in funds here, or you indeed exporting. So there must be some flow of capital across the borders. We tend to prioritize businesses exporting goods and services. As I said, we're not in manufacturing or logistics. And so ideally, we need companies to be generating foreign exchange through their operations. Because remember, you're in a dollar-denominated economy, so how do you do that? So we seek to attract businesses that bring in foreign capital into the economy, or joint ventures with international companies or investors, really attracting foreign investors. A Kenyan company which only serves the domestic market would not typically meet the core objectives of SEZs and would possibly not be able to be eligible. Hence, I said, the reason we do the discovery session, we really want to understand your business. Because the requirement for movement of capital, as I said, I'm really going to stress this, implies that you're engaging in businesses beyond the local market. So that's quite important. But really think about your businesses and understand, do I do anything in this sphere? Because if you do, you could be eligible. So really think about the whole depth and breadth of your business. I'm going to give you an example. I'm not going to call it Eric, I'm going to call it ABC. So we have ABC Retail Company. It's a Kenyan company. It could be operating a chain of stores and it's only serving local customers. That may not qualify for SEZ incentives. But just here, everything is local. There's no export activity, so it does not export goods or services, and so it doesn't contribute to any sort of foreign exchange earnings. So does not qualify. The company also doesn't have any foreign investment. It doesn't engage with any international companies. Doesn't qualify. Because all its business activities for ABC are within Kenya, no movement of capital. But if ABC does attract a foreign investor to invest in them, now they start to become eligible. If ABC decides that it's exporting one of the products that maybe somebody's bringing to their store to a foreign country, now it's starting to engage in some foreign transaction. So a business like ABC, if it only operates in the domestic market, SEZ incentives will not be applicable because SEZ incentives are designed for international business activities. It's designed to engage in exporting services, which could be even the remote work that people do for external companies, call centers for external companies, etc. It needs to be somebody who may be attracting foreign investment. So if you're a company here, an investor wants to come and invest in you, then you could be eligible. You need to be participating in some sort of cross-border trading to qualify for the benefits. So businesses which are focused only on the local market need to look for other government incentives or support programs that are tailored for domestic operations. But for SEZs, we do say it's the export of goods or services.
Very well answered. More questions coming for you, maybe Brenda, before I switch to Brian. Perhaps someone saying, I have a business which is local focused, but I want to grow it to the international community. So are those the kind of businesses that you're looking for?
Yes. So that's another thing that the SEZ authority is open to. You could come here and say, this is how I am today, but by next year, this is my intention. And if we do a good application and you can defend your case with the authority, they can possibly give you that license. But they will come and check a year later, did you meet that ambition? Because if you're getting the incentive, did you grow? Did you start to export services? Did you employ one additional person? Because we are also looking for job creation. So that's why I say the discovery session is very important, because you could need this platform to be able to propel yourself into the international arena. And so there are, as they say, there's a phrase, different ways to skin a cat. But, so we just need to understand your business fully, and we do that at the discovery session. And you could say, I actually need to set myself up so an investor can come and invest in me, and with these incentives I know I'd be able to deliver it. So these are the reasons we like to discuss every business separately and understand, so we can see how best to tailor the proposition.
Thank you, Brenda. Brian, now let me rope you in here. Someone is saying does the registration process really meaning setting up an entirely new entity, or can I come with my existing company and shift that to the SEZ? And then I think the next question, which can also be shared between the two of you, someone is asking, I think the common question at the end is, how much do you have in the Kenyan context? Uko na ngapi? So they want to ask here, what's a cost implication for, the process itself, and also like, do they need a minimum capital requirement to be part of the SEZ program, SEZ program?
Thank you, Eric. In terms of registration, you don't have to re-register a new company if you already have an existing company. But what we do is once during the SEZ licensing process, we help you populate a proposal that is we submit on your behalf to SEZA, that is the Special Economic Zones Authority. Then once they go through your proposal and that we've seconded, and they approve you to become like an SEZ, they give you an approval. They give a letter called the approval in principle. This now mandates you to re-register your company as an SEZ. For example, your company is named, let's say, David SEZ. No, David Consultancy Firm. And now you've gotten the letter of approval in principle from SEZA. What you do at the registration of the company, you only add the initial SEZ at the end. So it will be David Consultancy SEZ. Then once you do that, you submit, the new name to us again, and we support you with SEZA. Then you get to pay $1,000 fee, which is a regulatory fee that goes directly to SEZA, and then automatically you get an SEZ license that is actually stipulated the name of your firm, or rather your company. Yep. So you don't have to register a company.
Can I add
yes,
to
Brenda.
that?
Yes, please.
So your SEZ license, when one of the first questions was, do you need to be domiciled in our zone? You do, because that's part of your registration process. They do need to see that you are going to be domiciled. Where's your office premise? We're going to register ABC Limited, and it's where it's domiciled. So that's why you have to be within an SEZ. That's part of the process, yeah.
Yes, Brian, and in terms of cost implications?
In terms of cost implications, the only cost implication is, number one, of course, you need to be prepared to pay the SEZ license fee, which is only $1,000, renewable annually every year. Then secondly, of course, is now your rental fee, which again is exclusive of VAT. So you don't pay VAT. So depending with the space that you get, from as low as 1,400, you can be able to get 80 square meters of space, which is a gray box. And even we also have the option of making, allowing you to focus on your core, which is doing your business, by fitting out that office on your behalf. Then what we do, we spread the cost of fit out across your 6 years lease period.
All right.
And I just wanted to highlight Brian mentioned no VAT. That just highlights that within the zone, tax compliance is actually very efficient because there's very limited tax requirements. So you don't have plus this and plus that and plus that. Dollar economy with very minimal, there's no VAT in any invoice you're going to get within the zone, and indeed possibly with any invoice you're going to give to your customers going out from the zone. Yeah.
Very
that
good,
also
because
makes you more competitive.
because the next question the next question that was coming in is about if you offer any guarantees. People are very afraid of KRA, so they're wondering, do you offer any guarantees if KRA comes after them?
KRA should not be coming after you in an SEZ because you'll be compliant, because there's very limited tax requirements here. When you're in an SEZ, you're under the SEZ authority. KRA sits on the SEZ authority board. So you're being given the license to operate with all these incentives, which has been given to you by the authority, the SEZ authority. So you, as long as you're operating and doing the right thing, there'll be no reason for KRA to come and disturb you within the zone.
All right, that's
we're here as the operator and manager of the zone. And there really should be, and as long as everybody, you're doing the right thing, you're being compliant, there should be no issues.
all right. People can sleep well. You know, KRA gives them nightmares.
They should sleep very well. We sleep very well because we know we're doing the right thing, and we have the authority. This says authority.
But if I get it correctly, then you are hand-holding the investors and businesses, helping them through the process so that they have no conflicts with both authorities here and externally where they're doing business, and helping them scale. In a nutshell, that's your value prop to the businesses.
That's my value prop, yeah. The value prop is the value-added services that we give. We give you regulatory support, as I said, so comprehensive support to navigate the regulatory landscape. Because remember, each business will be different, may have different regulators, may have different needs. So we really want to help you with this smooth setup process. We then have effortless onboarding. So, you know, to get onboarded into our zone is streamlined processes, and we have a support team, and Brian is part of that team. We have plug and play office solutions. So literally you can just move in immediately. I really want to invite people to come and visit us here to see what we have on offer. You could choose your office space. So Eric, you can come over and choose your office space. It's here, it's ready, and make it your home. And this reduces the time associated and the costs associated with setting up a new office. We can make it bespoke to what you want. You know, what sort of office do you want? You can show us the designs. You can bring your design team. We have a design team. We can work together. Normally takes us 8 weeks if you want us to structure something specific to you, or you can take what we already have. And then you have the strategic incentives that I said, you know, ease of repatriation of funds, which everybody gets, but truly it's very easy within the SEZ. So we are here to hold your hand, to understand what I would call your pain points, and to walk the journey with you. If you're eligible, if you're one of our clients, that is our promise to you.
All right. There's Joseph with a specific question more for Brian. I think he has a professional accountancy firm that is licensed with a professional body outside Kenya. So when they come to TRIFIC SEZ, do they need licenses from the Kenyan professional bodies, and how, and assuming his business is 100% export oriented? So Joseph, yes, very nice question, by the way, I should say. Contact TRIFIC directly for one-on-one assessment. It's very important. This is I mean, we don't have the full context, so Brian will just give you the small context, but for proper context, we'll give the details at the end. Do contact TRIFIC. Yes, Brian.
So yes, that's actually a very good question that Joseph Owande has asked. So if definitely you already have professional licenses from outside Kenya, and your target market is actually in the specific jurisdiction that you already have license to serve those members, then you don't have to register again and get Kenyan professional licenses from the various bodies, because you're serving an external client. I think the only bit would come in if you now start offering those services to the domestic market. Then at that point now you need to at least be a part of the Kenyan professional body. But if it's purely for export, definitely you don't need. You just need to set up a TRIFIC, and you know, I believe paying rent and cost of living is more affordable here in Kenya, so you can relocate back to Kenya and serve your market.
Very well put. So I think the $1,000 annual fee, I think someone is asking, is that annually renewable? And yeah, so I think you can give some context to that, Brian. Sorry, Brenda.
Oh, well, no, Brian can take it as well. Brian, over to you.
Yeah. So yes, the $1,000 is annually renewable. So you, at the point of renewing your SEZ license, enterprise license, you have to keep on paying that $1,000. So that is what it is. But I know Brenda would like to just give a little bit more context in terms of what, as an operator, some of the advisory, of course, support that we are pushing for the government to offer. So Brenda, on to you.
Yes, it is an annual fee that goes to the authority. We are also advocating to see if they can extend the license tenure. So instead of making it a 1-year license, perhaps make it a 10-year license, but you would still pay the 1-year fee. But so that 1,000 you do have to budget for that annual fee.
Yes, and someone is asking, are there companies already operating at the TRIFIC SEZ?
Yes, they are. We have several
What's the experience,
companies.
perhaps, so far? Maybe you can tell the customers should speak a bit.
Well, I'm sitting at TRIFIC currently, so I'm operating from here. So we have different customers from different fields, global business process outsourcing, advisory firms, different firms that offer different services. And have been taking advantage of the incentives. And thus far, I think they're happy clients. We have a few startups waiting for their licenses, which are about to come through. I think we just have a very good mix of clients, both people who've been based here locally, but dealing in international markets, and some international companies that have looked to set up here as well. So yes, our North Tower, which is our first tower, is filling up quite nicely. A lot of commitment and support, and so we just want to offer it out to more people to come and enjoy the experience. Because of data protection, I can't reveal the names of the clients, but when you come here, you can walk around and then you can see which ones they are.
All right, so I think we have 7 more minutes. The questions are flowing in. I think we need to do another session on this, Brenda. It feels like there are many questions for people to do this. But once again, of course, they can contact you directly and have a cup of tea, paid in dollars, right? And they can.
No, I'll give it to them free. That they won't pay me for the tea. I can even give them a barista cappuccino. Is that good?
Good. So just contact them for free. Yes, so maybe a few more questions and then we'll be done. Maybe I'll start with Brian. So there's someone who maybe specifically has a case for a fintech that wants to set up. So maybe you can give them a bit of your value prop once again. Someone is also asking if you're buying from overseas, selling to neighboring countries without bringing into Kenya, are you still eligible to be part of the SEZ? And then lots of questions, but I think we can handle those two and then we'll take it from there.
So on the fintech question, definitely if you're looking forward to set up a fintech within TRIFIC SEZ, the real value proposition that will come to you will be first, definitely lowering the cost of doing business, or because of enjoying the 16% value-added taxes exemption on both purchases and services that you receive. You'll also get to enjoy 16% reverse VAT exemption. Secondly, also your profit margins will be more profitable because you'll only be paying 10% corporation tax, and opposed to paying a 30% corporation tax if outside the SEZ. And even when maybe you are capital raising, maybe from your shareholders or from a third party financial, whether a bank or you've gone through a PE or a VC, what that means is once you are getting the funding, for example, you've closed at $1 million or $3 million funding. Once you're getting that capital into the country again, you are exempted from withholding tax. So that means it's maximum input into the business, and even you have a better case to pitch to your funders, because you're telling them that the capital is coming in less of withholding tax, and even once you are repatriating either dividends or giving back equity or selling equity, also again you get exempted from capital gain taxes. So it becomes you have better cash flow, and even the opportunity to scale up your business becomes better. And even for tech, any sort of tech that you might need to invest in so as to run your business better, any sort of importation, be it laptop servers that you might need, as long as you are domiciled within TRIFIC SEZ, you get to enjoy exemptions from the import, declaration, levies, custom taxes, and that actually lowers your cost up to 43.5%. So definitely, if you are in the fintech space, definitely TRIFIC is the place to go.
All right. So before I give Brian to give us the contact details, we have a lot of questions. So we will take note of them and maybe incorporate them into future webinar series that we're going to be having. So keep track of our Twitter page, and we'll definitely give you more of those more information on this. I think there's quite a bit of interest on this, on specifically being handheld through the process of setting up and all. So I want to give Brenda maybe a chance to give us a quick maybe summary of what exactly you want people to remember as they go home today about TRIFIC. So over to you. Pressure is on you, Brenda, to give us a 1-minute pitch on why people should be setting up a TRIFIC and what you're offering them, so that what they remember, what they need to remember for today.
What they need to remember, Eric, is that there's terrific solutions at TRIFIC. So they should really think of what is available at hand in our country. These are wonderful incentives if you're eligible. And the worst thing you could do is just not try. I really want to encourage people to come and speak to us, to have a discovery session with us and see if your business is going to be eligible. Remember, our value proposition to you to support the strategic incentives being given to you by the government include that we're going to hold your hand, give you regulatory support. We have plug-and-play office solutions. The strategic incentives are there. So what's there to lose? Give it a try. So I really want to ask people to consider it, especially if you believe your business may be eligible. And I want to welcome you and let you know that TRIFIC SEZ is open for business. We're open to meet people, and we look forward to having many more meetings with you and also to hosting future webinars. And to thank you, Eric.
Thank you so much, Brenda. We definitely need more businesses set up at SEZ. If you're afraid of KRA, just run to TRIFIC SEZ. Brian, where can people find you guys? And apparently you're famous on TikTok, they say.
So yes, you can find us across all our social media platforms, starting with LinkedIn. We have our page is the Two Rivers International Finance and Innovation Center. And also we are present at the X Space, where we'll be doing a lot of, sessions as well. And also we are available on Instagram as well as TikTok, both at the TRIFIC handles and even in our personal handles. So feel free to reach out in whichever way. We are here to definitely serve you better.
All right. Brenda, where did you say people can find the cup of cappuccino?
So here we are at TRIFIC North Tower, SEZ, within the Two Rivers ecosystem. Please look for us. You're very welcome. We're here, and yes, there's cappuccino and other goodies. So please, you're very welcome.
All right. Should we call it a day now? Thank you so much for all of you for joining us. The contact details are over there, and we'll be sharing a recording of this this webinar will be available. I think on YouTube. Just check out our social media channels, and we should definitely be sharing it with you. A copy of the presentation will also be available to you, so that you can be able to look through the details in a bit more at your pace, to be able to look through all the incentives that are available for you. And as I said, Brian and Brenda are both available to be able to take in all your questions and to be able to respond to any of your needs. So go to them and have a discussion. I mean, the worst you can do is try, and the best you can do is succeed. So I think that's very important to keep track of. So for me, Brenda and Brian, we say goodbye and thank you for joining us today. See you once again in another webinar series that will be launching soon. Thank you and bye.
Thank you very much. And
Bye-bye.
Thank you to all the attendees. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Bye, Brenda. And bye, Brian.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.